Hello, welcome, Devil Sniper here, and today I'm bringing you episode number 2 of our career mode with West Ham United. And it's going to be an interesting episode because today we're going to take a bit of time with the transfer window. We're not going to rush through it. I see so many different career modes where they rush through the transfer window. And for me, the transfer window is a very, very important factor of career mode. So we're going to take our time. We are going to sell a few players. We're going to have a look at a few players. We're also going to have a little chat about formations because I think it's important that we know what sort of football we're going to play going forward during next season. So, Domestic Cup, the board want us to reach the stage of 16. As you would have seen, the transfer window is open, and we now know it's open because Everton have come in, the Scousers have come in and made a £5.5 million offer for Ravel Morrison, who essentially could have gone, but with a little bit of interaction with the board before I signed my official contract, etc., we managed to renew his contract, keep him at the club so we could cash in on him because we knew he wanted away. He agreed to it. It was fine. So we knew the deal was going to come round. I'm not really happy selling to a player to my own league. I find that, you know, it's you're selling to a competitor and I don't think that's a good thing. But if the money is right, then I'm not too bothered. And if I feel the player is not good enough to be at our club, then I will let him go. So if I can get £8.75 million from Everton, I'll be elated. And as you will see, Everton have come back and matched it instantaneously, which says to me I should have gone about 9.7, maybe 10 million, and really tested their resilience and see if they were giving us the money. But 8.75 million, do you know what? I'm extremely happy with that. That's a good profit on his valuation. And to be fair, I know he's a good player, but it's just not right for the club. Next up on the chopping block is Zalati. And of course, it's the Scousers, but this time it's Liverpool who come in. They give us a cheeky offer of £4.4 million. He is valued at 4.9. He's the right side of 30, so I definitely think there's some room here to bargain. I have an all-time low for his, you know, set fee that I will accept at if someone comes in and says £6 million, he can go because it gives us 1.1 over his actual valuation. That's a good little bit of profit to put towards the budget. And that's the figure I'm looking for. If I obviously push it higher, the more I can get, the better. I'll be a lot happier. But we'll have to see how negotiations go. As you can see, Liverpool come back and say £6 million. Well, that's very interesting because that's exactly what I want is £6 million. But now we've got the interest of Malaga and it's going to be in the papers a little bit more. I've got a bit of room to play. Hopefully I can push Malaga to a price and hopefully I can force Liverpool into paying a little bit more. So we'll go with Malaga, £7.75 million. To be fair, it's a good valuation. The lad's got pace. The lad can finish. He just had a diabolical season. He didn't settle in. And of course, you know, he was loaned out. It's just not working out for him. So, obviously, I'm all for giving players a chance and an opportunity. But if I can cash in, I will definitely cash in. So I give Liverpool and Malaga the opportunity at 7.75 million to see if they can come to some sort of deal. And of course, Ravel Morrison has now left the club for the 8.7 mil, and we get 7.5 million pounds towards our budget, which is fantastic. It gives us now a respectable looking budget. Now we can shift. Zalati, we can have a half decent budget. But Malaga come back and say, whoa, you're playing severe hardball. We'll give you 5.5 mil. 5.5 mil is definitely below what I want. As I said, 6 million and he's gone. If Liverpool now come back and say 6 or Malaga come back and say 6, we'll take the 6. Of course, Valencia, God knows why Leon thought we would sell him. Not going anywhere and especially not at that ridiculous offer. Stick another 0 on the end and I might consider it. But Zerati, we offer him at Zerati at 6.5. Of course, Liverpool come back and they're definitely determined to get hold of him and they want him at his price. Now, £6 million, as I said, is the bang-on number I want. If I push them with a counter offer, they'll more than likely go away because, you know, I have pushed them a few times to get them to the figure that I want. They're not willing to pay it, but they are willing to meet my lowest budget number that I would take, and that is 6 mil. So I've really got no choice but to take it, get the lad off the books because he's earning £60,000 a week, which is a huge amount of money. And of course, when you agree something, when you get contract signs, what happened? Malaga, they come back and say, do you know what, we'll match that 6.5 valuation, which is absolutely ridiculous and quite frustrating. But we've only lost out on £500,000, which I'm not too bothered with, to be honest, because obviously we're going to get the 60,000 a week back into the wage budget, and we're now going to have just shy of about £25 million on the budget, which is absolutely fantastic and gives us plenty of room to manoeuvre, plenty of room to look at players, especially where we need to fill in on the right back. We need to be looking at bringing in a CDM because Alex Song is now gone. And of course, perhaps we need to definitely be looking up top for a sort of a versatile striker. So Liverpool have got themselves a bargain in Zarate for 6 mil. We get 5 million quid onto the budget, and as I say, we're just shy of 25 million pounds, which is fantastic. Valencia comes to me and says, look, boss, you know, I think I'll be a great replacement for Zarate. Not being funny, looking at last season's statistics, you scored 16 goals, you played more games than Zarate. You know, I'm not 100% sure why you're coming to me, especially after last season's performance. You know, you've done very well. I've seen the videos. He played extremely well, and netting 16 goals compared to Zarate's 4 is absolutely sensational. Now, formations are very, very important. We're going to go with the default, which is the 4-1-2-1-2. It's the narrow. I like it, but I also like the 4-1-4-1. It's a formation where you're going to need patience. Essentially, it's been called the false 10 because you can make all the players free roam, and it causes a lot of problems, but you have to be patient. You can't force the ball too early because Valencia will be very isolated and you're not going to have as many goal-scoring opportunities. You just have to be very patient. It's a really good footballing possession formation that I'm hoping to bring to the club, and hopefully the boys will settle in with it and hopefully we'll be able to utilise it. Now, this formation is fantastic. As you'll see, it's the 4-2-3-1. Now, it's slightly different because Downing, seeing he's in that position, is actually going to be playing as a centre-forward, not a cam, a centre-forward. So he's literally like 10 to 12 yards off Valencia on a pivotal effect. So them two are going to be moving in unison, which is fantastic. Our two central left and right midfielders are essentially wingers. They're just shy of being wingers, but they're further up than sort of a cam. They're in that sort of no man's land, but they're going to be they're going to have good work rates, to be fair. Very, very fit players because they're going to have to get back and forward. But essentially, this formation predominantly will come a 4-2-4, which means we'll be very attacking and very aggressive, which is exactly what I want to see going forward next season. Now, the shortlist, very interesting. Obviously, I've sort of given a few more players. I put a few players on the list just to puff it out a little bit, but predominantly there's a few players that you guys recommended. So starting off, Adam Matthews, 23 years old, feels like he's been around for ages. Statistically looks really, really good, and probably out of the right backs that are on there, it's definitely my favourite. Kieran Trippier, I would have thought was quite solid. He looks really solid, to be fair. Valued at 2 million, but I do know Leverkusen have put a £4.1 million offer for him in. And, you know, talking that sort of money is just a bit too much. I'm definitely more interested in Adam Matthews. He is that year younger, and he looks a little bit better in certain areas. Now, Suarez as well, you know, it's a shame he's 27. Not that I've got a problem with signing players who are 27, 28, 29, 30, as long as they can come in and do a job. But he's coming from Elche. Now, they haven't got a very good defensive record. You know, looking from some of the videos I've seen of him, he's very naive when it comes to defending and makes a few too many errors, even though statistically he looks very, very good. So, unfortunately, we won't be making a punt for him. Now, DP, the lad from Valencia, very, very good. I mean, his passing range is absolutely sensational, but his valuation is way out of our realms because essentially we want a centre defensive midfielder. We want someone who can do a solid job in front of the back four or in front of the back three, in front of the defence, basically. As much as I feel he could, defensively, he's not the sort of player I'm looking for. He's just not as mobile as I would personally wish. So we won't be going there. And plus, we'd have to drop his price tag by a good £4 or £5 million, which is, you know, that's quite a chunk that Valencia would be losing out on. I don't think they'd be willing to go there. Now, Mbolo really does strike me as a potential bargain. I mean, physically, he's got the strength, he's got the acceleration, he's got the sprint speed, he's got the agility, he's good in the air, and he's got good stamina. His reactions are a bit down, but he's only 18 years old. That can all grow. That's not a problem. Technically, he's not too bad. He's got admirable finishing for an 18-year-old. 74, it's not too bad. I like that. He's got good work rates. He's got a good weak foot. I'd accept the 3-star skill moves, but I have to say from a positional play, the fact that he can play up top, the fact he can play just behind the striker, and the fact he can play right midfield is absolutely fantastic. And that is where I think he could definitely do a job for us. I would never play him in centre midfield. I mean, he doesn't really have the statistics for a centre midfielder. Saying that, his long passing and his short passing aren't too shabby, to be fair. So he could do a job in centre midfield, but we already have quite a few decent players in centre midfield. But the fact he can play right midfield and up top really does. I really like the look of the lads, but he's 18 years old. It's going to be a risk. Do we bring in someone experienced? Do we bring in someone a couple of years older? It's a very, very tough question. We're going to have a further look at Mbolo just to see if he has got the credentials to meet the BPL standard and, of course, meet the standard set at West Ham. So we'll have to pay a bit more attention to him, I feel. Javier Hernandez, Chicharito, Don't get me wrong, statistically looks fantastic, but 17 million, not on your Nelly, son. It's just cloud cuckoo land figures. We'd have to drop that by a good £7-8 million, to be honest, which I don't think Manchester United would. Callum Wilson, you know, an outside shot. Looks pretty good, looks impressive, doing a good job in a championship with Bournemouth, but you never know. From a South American perspective, Giovanni Dos Santos, decent looking player, but that price tag is a little bit too high for my liking at this moment in time. But that's where we're going to conclude episode 2. Hopefully you have enjoyed episode 2, and hopefully you will enjoy episode 3, which will probably be later in the week.
I used to dream about cars.